welcome back to the show. This
What up,
is
YouTube?
yes, this is Small Talk, the show where we keep the talk small, but the ideas can be as big as our imagination uh, limits. I would like to point out that I got a big old pimple right on my forehead, like 5 minutes before streaming,
Nice.
and I'm not self-conscious about it at all. Uh, Today we are joined by Corwin
What up?
and myself. I will be hosting. The point of this show is we have the tendency to uh, go on and talk for hours, and so we wanted to practice condensing our long-winded ideas into coherent arguments. And so I will be presenting for no longer than 7 minutes. It doesn't have to last that long, but then after the presentation, we open it up for discussion and to chats. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Today's topic it's a little lighthearted. It's about my least favorite brand of comedy. As you all may know, I am a comedian, and I've done it for a long time. And I'm not perfect, but there are some jokes and or things that I like and some that I don't. And I wanted to talk about one of my comedy pet peeves today. First off, how you doing, Corwin?
I'm doing fantastic. So sorry we're a little late. I'm teaching my 3-year-old how to swim.
Nice.
She's actually doing really good. Like we've got her pushing off the wall. She swims about 30 feet underwater, holding her breath, just with the goggles. So yeah, she's doing really good. For a 3-year-old, she's freaking awesome. So
Well, great. I hope that she likes jokes, because that's what we're talking about.
let's do this thing.
Okay. All right. I will start the countdown clock and begin my presentation, for which I've prepared a PowerPoint presentation, everybody. Here we go. You are a dum-dum, and your jokes are bad. A presentation by me. This is what is the type of comedy that I hate. There is one joke in particular that I see all the time. It's all over the place. It's always the same joke, requires zero preparation, and what's most egregious about it is it's not funny, because you can literally make it about anything and it's always the same, and it's stupid. Now, what kind of humor am I talking about? It may be hard to explain. I'm specifically referring to referential humor when it comes to actors and the roles that they play in movies. Where does this come up the most? In YouTube comment sections. What a twist. Here we go. Let's go look at a trailer for a movie. This is a new movie, The American Underdog. And you know what grinds my gear peeves more than it is people that think that they can tell jokes. Here we go. Oh, I love it because Chuck is all grown up and he's scoring touchdowns while Sarah's out there saving the future from aliens. Because he was in a TV show called Chuck. And now he's in a different movie doing a different thing, but it's like his character from the first thing is doing the thing from the second thing. And also Sarah was another character in Chuck, and she was in a movie with Chris Pratt where she fought aliens. It's pretty funny, right?
It's super lame.
It's not funny. It's really lame.
And that was talking about HK Productions. Oh, jeez.
The most it wouldn't bother me that much if it wasn't done all the time. Here are more examples. Here's another trailer, Matrix Resurrection. Oh, guess what? It's a plot twist because Neo died at the end of it, and so the guy in this one is John Wick. It's funny because Keanu Reeves also plays John Wick, but he's in the Matrix. I do comedy. Hey, the Batman. This looks like it's going to be like a fun movie. What's a joke I could tell about it? Oh, Robert Pattinson went crazy because he was in a lighthouse with Willem Dafoe, and that's why he's weird in this movie. Oh, Tom Hanks is in a movie where he's all alone, but with a robot. I wonder what joke they're gonna tell. Oh, Wilson, it gets to speak this time. It's not just a volleyball; he's a robot. Oh, Wilson, I'm sorry, and he gets in. I'm very funny. I do comedy. I'll be here all week. Oh, here's a movie with Bendaloon Cumbersnooch. It's funny because it's Doctor Strange, and also Sylvie from the Loki show is in it, and they went. It looks like they went undercover to mess up the multiverse. I do comedy. Oh, hey, the Red Notice. I'm so excited to see Wonder Woman, Black Adam, and Deadpool in a movie because they've never been in a movie together. Oh, look, it's the Eternals. It's so great because Jon Snow and Robb Stark are going to be telling jokes. They're both from Game of Thrones, and they're in this movie, and but this time they're not talking about thrones. They're talking about Thanos.
Is Angelina Jolie in Eternals?
Yeah, she is. Oh, hey, and then this one is The Harder They Fall. It's a movie with cowboys in it, and so, but Idris Elba played Bloodsport in the Suicide Squad, but he's a cowboy now, and he's going to be fighting He Who Remains because he was in Loki, and he's Kane, and this is one of Kane's variants in the multiverse. Kane has yeed his last haw. This is the most egregious example of this joke that's not a real joke, because it's based on the multiverse, which means you could literally be about anything because nothing matters in the multiverse. There's infinite. It's a stupid kind of humor that I don't find funny. That's the end of my presentation or my PowerPoint. But what's even more egregious about the laziness of the humor is that it's also insulting to the actors. Because the whole point of acting is you are assuming a different role, becoming another person, and then so I'm going to tell a joke where I don't see them as the same they're the same person every time, and I do comedy. That's it. That's my pet peeve. I hate it. It's not funny, and it's everywhere. Another good example of where this comes up outside of just trailers and comments in trailers is like different page. Like, have you heard about the Indiana Jones theory? The Star Wars theory?
Which one?
Oh, it's stupid. It's that Indiana Jones and Star Wars are in the same universe because of Harrison Ford, and he's a time traveler.
Oh, all right, yeah, stupid.
Because there's one scene in Indiana Jones where you see R2D2 and C3PO also, but it's called an Easter egg, guys.
Lame.
So that's it.
Lame.
That's my presentation.
Lame.
I told you this is going to be a silly episode.
So, well, I mean, I guess you could argue that humor is subjective, right?
Yeah, some humor is subjective, but also, okay.
I would say all humor is subjective.
No, I disagree. I disagree. There is some humor that is objectively funny and objectively unfunny.
Again, that's all in the eye of the beholder, right? So, for example, coming from a guy's perspective, I can look at guys attracted to women, right? Guys have a type.
Uh-huh.
I mean, with keeping PG-13, are you a boob guy? Are you a butt guy? Are you what are you guy? Like, guys are attracted to, are you blonde guy? Are you brunette guy? Are you redhead? Guys were attracted to certain things. Now, I have looked at women that I do not personally myself find attractive, but I know that my friends or other people do. without throwing out examples because we don't need to get into that.
Right.
But and so I would argue, and I can look at that individual and I can say, yeah, she is attractive, but she's not my kind of attractive. I think the same kind of goes for humor. I can look at humor and go, well, that's not my humor. That's not my brand of funny.
Yeah.
I can see how some people find it funny. I think it's stupid, but I can see how some people find it funny. However, there are those crazy outliers, and I'm going to agree with you on this one. Like this, that's just stupid. It's just dumb. It's such low-hanging fruit. It's like the lowest of the low-hanging fruit. It's like you're picking it up off the ground, but instead of the joke, like you look down and you're like, oh, this apple looks delicious, and you pick up off the ground, and then it's like filled with worms and stuff. But instead of being like, oh, it's disgusting, you still eat it. Like that's what this humor is. This humor is like, oh, there's low-hanging fruit.
It's more.
It's rotten. I'm still gonna take a bite.
They are being funny though.
Right.
And but here's a demonstration. I could literally do this about anything. Okay, I pulled up YouTube in incognito mode so that there's no like metrics. I'll type in trailer. Okay, and these are the trailers. No, she's kind of a new actress. So here is Zac Efron is in a new movie. It's about he goes to Vietnam and brings beer. The comments are turned off. So I'll make one.
High School Musical.
It looks like Troy. What's it? It looks like Troy Bolton is all grown up. It looks like Troy Bolton isn't in high school anymore.
Yeah, it's lame.
Because he's drinking beer.
It's so stupid.
It's because he was in the movie called High School Musical, and you can't drink alcohol until you're 21.
It's just so stupid, and that's the thing. Like it's just dumb. It's just stupid humor. It's not even. And I do think it is insulting.
Here we go. It's John Bernthal in he's an American Gigolo. Looks like the Punisher's having sex.
Looks like the Punisher found a new side hustle.
That
one's actually pretty good.
Looks like the Punisher's not just banging guns. It's not just his guns that go really bang.
Good. I think it just comes down to this. Humor is subjective, but there is some humor that's so stupid and so miserable that it shouldn't be done. And I think this kind of hits the line, especially because, like you said, it's so mainstream. It's in every trailer. It's in every comment. It's in every this. It's in every that. And people think it's funny. And I'm going to just piggyback off of it's insulting to the actors.
Yeah.
Actors, good actors, don't have to... What is it? Method acting. That was the big popular thing. Yeah. Good actors don't have to method act. Good actors can get into a role.
That's kind of the definition of acting, is that you don't have to method act.
Right. You don't have to method act. And a fantastic example of this is the late Heath Ledger. Everyone said, oh, he method acted the Joker. No, he didn't. He never did.
No.
He never method acted anything. From
maybe like on set.
Well, yeah. They even said on set in the Batman interrogation room where Batman comes in and beats the snot out of Heath Ledger.
Yeah, there's stories about them having jokes.
He was totally chill, totally relaxed, and they did all their scenes, and they're like, all right, Heath, you're up. And he's like, okay. And then he'd go,
yeah,
you know how I got these scars.
That's
and then he was just
definition of acting.
Yeah, he was an actor. He doesn't have to pretend. He doesn't have to live so he can act well. And his version of the Joker, arguably, is the best Joker, in my opinion. And I think that and obviously all the Jokers are different. Like you can't compare, and I'm just, again, side tangent. You can't compare Nicholson's Joker to Heath Ledger's Joker. It's like comparing a watermelon and an orange. It just doesn't work, right?
Is a watermelon and an orange? They're both painted like the Joker, though.
Both painted like the Joker, but whatever. And there's stupid humor again. But it's insulting to these actors because, for example, Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe. I didn't think I'd be able to see him as anything but Harry Potter. And the first movie that I saw, I think it's the first movie he did after Harry Potter, was Woman in Black. Yeah. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, it's completely different.
completely different character. And I honestly, I walked in and I was like, I am only going to see Harry Potter. Like, just whip out your freaking magic wand and Avada Kedavra the witch and be done with it. But he didn't. He pulled it off. He was brilliant in that show. He was really good and he sold it. And I automatically forgot that he was Harry Potter. And it would be stupid for me to go into the comments of A Woman in Black, and it would be insulting to the actor to be like, oh, look at that, Harry Potter's found a new job as a muggle bounty hunter for witches.
Yeah, he's hunting down ghosts because they're also in Harry Potter. And
right, ghosts are in Harry Potter. It looks like Harry Potter's found a new side. Harry Potter's turned into a Ghostbuster. It's stupid. It's just dumb, and it is insulting to the actor.
Yeah, it's not funny. It's not funny. Back to I want to talk quickly about how objective comedy. I think, yes, all comedy is subjective, but we also have metrics that objectively analyze comedy.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue that,
you know, there are some comics that make money and some that don't.
Yeah, I mean, go to any like stand-up comedy open mic night at any club, and you're going to have a couple of guys and a couple of gals that just explode and they're hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have, but the vast majority of them are going to be quite lame.
Like, I mean, take the Ghostbusters, for instance. The original movie is objectively funny, and it made a lot of money
because a lot of people liked it,
and it's become timeless. And then you take the all-female reboot of the Ghostbusters, it's objectively unfunny,
not funny,
and no one watched it.
Yep, because it wasn't funny. I would agree with that. I would agree.
I think, and what's more telling are the DVD sales, because a lot of people will go see a movie in theaters and not enjoy themselves, right? But if you go see a movie and enjoyed it, you're going to buy it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Maverick's coming out on DVD.
Oh, baby.
You heard about Top Gun Maverick.
Maverick's coming out on Blu-ray.
Right? Yes. I'm buying the 4K. I'm buying a crap out of that movie. Like, it's going to be a Christmas gift for multiple people. It's just what it is. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, that's my silly rant about comedy. If you but I thought I'd end the conversation with an example of my favorite kind of comedy from my favorite comedian of all time. You want any guesses?
Old or new? He's
dead.
Chris Farley.
That's pretty good. That's but no.
Okay. No, I'm out of
in my opinion, the greatest comedian of all time, and also in the opinion of most comedians, Norm Macdonald. It's almost like 50-50. Like, if you ask a comedian, like, who's your greatest inspiration, it's either like Norm Macdonald or like Richard Pryor, if you go back even further. But yeah, Norm Macdonald is hilarious. And I'm not going to talk about his humor, but I'm going to talk about his idea of the perfect joke, which he's explained it as my favorite kind of joke is where you can structure it in such a way that the setup to the joke is identical to the punchline, because it's so concise. It's beautiful. And I've got a little montage of him doing that. It's just like 2 minutes. It's hilarious. I'm going to play the video. It'll mute your mic automatically, but you can like unmute yourself if you want to talk during it.
Sure.
But here we go. Sorry, that's the wrong one.
You look for jokes.
Yeah.
That have the same setup as the punchline. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I said the perfect joke would be if the punchline and the setup were almost identical.
Yeah.
Julia Roberts told reporters this week that her marriage to Lyle Lovett has been over for some time. The key moment, she said, came when she realized that she was Julia Roberts and that she was married to Lyle Lovett.
Most of these are going to be from his time on the Weekend Update.
According to an obscure 14th century law, British Army Captain James Hewitt could be hanged for having an affair with Princess Diana. The punishment for having sex with Princess Diana is death. The punishment for having sex with Princess Anne is having sex with Princess Anne. A new development in the O.J. Simpson civil trial this week. According to sworn testimony, Nicole Brown Simpson had told her therapist that she was afraid of getting beaten by O.J. Simpson. Asked why he didn't report this earlier, the therapist said, "I was afraid of getting beaten by O.J. Simpson." Our top story tonight comes from the O.J. Simpson civil trial, where this week it was revealed that in his first interview with police, Simpson had refused to take a lie detector test. His reason? It detects lies. When I was a kid, my dad would tell me that this man was a gold medal decathlete. Why, the greatest athlete in the world. And now I have to tell my kid that this man is a man.
This guy died, Jerry Rubin, and he was a yippie.
Yes.
Not a hippie, but a yippie. I remember my dad going, who is that, a goddamn hippie or a yippie? You know?
Yippee! Jerry Rubin died last week. Oh, I'm sorry, that should read, Yippee Jerry Rubin died last week. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. My mistake completely. I didn't read it right.
It's just that I love it. It's a great joke.
Yeah, he does good stuff.
Most of those are from his time on the Weekend Update on SNL, which he got
I
fired.
guess
He got fired from that job because he kept making jokes about O.J. Simpson and Bill Clinton. They asked him to stop several times. And he
talk about low hanging fruit.
He only did it because they told him to stop.
and see, that's the thing that I believe comedians have an advantage over, and how they can push their message of humor or whatever message they want to do. They have something, and we have given them something in the past, clear back in medieval times, the jester's privilege, right?
Yeah.
The jester's privilege. For those of you who don't know what jester's privilege is, it's a jester was one of the only people allowed to make fun of the king or the queen or any member of the court. Obviously, the king's still the king, and the king could kill the jester at any point in time.
And sometimes that did happen.
And sometimes
it was heavily frowned upon.
Yes.
To do so.
The jester had the privilege of saying jokes or saying things that people in power did not want to hear. And we're losing that a little bit. Not a little bit. We're
100%.
losing it a lot in today's society. And I think that's super sad, because comedy is I think for example, my perfect version of comedy is taking real life events, real things, making it relatable, and being funny about it. Instead of how I think it was Bill Engvall, the Here's Your Sign guy, who told his mom said, well, why don't you go to a therapist if you're having all these problems? And he said, because rather than go to a therapist, I just stand on stage and explain my life, and I make millions for it. And because we relate to it.
No, I'm the exact same way. My therapy is comedy.
Yes.
Like I do improv, and I've done it for over a decade, and it makes me happy when I do it. And like there are times when I'm like maybe a little depressed, and I like don't want to do anything. And when I thought about like, oh, maybe I should like skip practice because I just don't feel like going, I immediately realized like, no, like going will help me feel better. And it's definitely helped for the time that I've done it. It has significantly helped my mental health in dealing with everyday problems and turning to humor.
Laughter is one of the best medicines.
The best medicine.
Laughter is one of the best medicines. But just to name, so I'm going to since we're on this comedy thing, and we have a few more minutes before we need to wrap up, just some unknown comedians. Maybe we should just rattle off some unknown comedians that are actually good comedians that people don't know. They could be dead, current. It doesn't matter. So I've got a list. John Panette, or John Panette, however you want to pronounce it.
Pretty good, yeah.
He's a fat guy. He has passed away, rest his soul. But he does a lot of about food and about working out and about life, and he's hilarious. There's another comedian that I really like that is, people don't know who he is. He did a feature. He's done quite a few. He's actually come to Utah here a few times. We should go see him at the Dry Bar Comedy on Center Street. Jeff Allen. He does some of the funniest. Marriage comedy, just how marriage is, that I've ever heard of. He's not vulgar. He doesn't cuss. You could take anyone to see it, and he is.
What's his name again?
Jeff Allen.
Jeff Allen.
Jeff Allen. He is. You can, some of his stuff. He's got a feature, I think, at Dry Bar that's like an hour long that you can watch. He is hilarious. He is absolutely hilarious. Another guy that I really like, Michael Jr. is his name. If you Google Michael Jr. comedy, he will come up. He is the setup guy. He's the guy that you talked about, how like the joke and the punchline that's his humor. And he has jokes that like you won't laugh at first. You'll look at him and you'll be like, why is he like, that's not funny. And then he tells the next joke, which completes both jokes at the same time. He is genius. Michael Jr. He is phenomenal. And then let's throw out another comedian that I really like, Maria Bamford. Usually I don't like female comedies or comics because they either pull the vulgar stuff.
Yeah.
Who's the really popular? She's not funny at all. She was in Ghostbusters. What is her name?
Oh, hold up. We're all sharing obscure comedians that people maybe haven't heard of. And David, your comment is Brian Regan, Jim Gaffigan, and Gabriel Iglesias.
I mean, they're funny. Going back to your metrics. No,
they're funny. I like Brian Regan's great. Jim Gaffigan's great. I don't personally connect super well with Gabriel Iglesias, but a lot of people like him.
I love him. I think he's funny. But Maria Bamford, oh gosh, the one who's not funny, the female comic who's not funny.
In Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I think she's in Ghostbusters. And she had a whole bunch of sketches on Netflix that just felt fat.
Melissa McCartney?
No, it's not Melissa McCartney.
Are you talking about Kate McKinnon? I think she's pretty funny.
She can be funny. Kate McKinnon can be funny. No. She's a little chunkier. She's a little heavier.
In the female Ghostbusters.
White. She might not be in the female Ghostbusters. I might have had that wrong.
Not Kristen Wiig. I haven't seen any of these people on Facebook. I mean, on
Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer is trash.
Yeah, she's
her comedy is trash. I have watched 3 of her comedy specials. I didn't even so much as giggle once because she pulls I'm going to cuss, I'm going to be vulgar, I'm going to be rude and crude about sex. She pulls these things and they're not even funny. Like
she also steals a lot of her jokes.
Yeah, she steals almost all of her jokes. I mean, look at Dane Cook, for example. Dane Cook can be vulgar. Dane Cook has talked about sex, but he doesn't make it.
That's not the only thing he does.
Right. But for Amy Schumer, that's all she does. Anyway, if you want a female comic that is hilarious, Alan, she is your sense of humor, I promise.
Yeah.
Maria Bamford. She's from Duluth, Minnesota. She makes fun of her own accent. She is genius. Maria Bamford. She is so funny. So funny. Anyway, just those are kind of my picks.
Oh, no. Yeah. She's in Arrested Development.
Yes. Yeah.
She had a show on Netflix, Lady Dynamite. I never watched it, but it got really good reviews.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I know her.
Her comedy is like dysfunctional family, self-depreciating, jokes about depression and anxiety. So she brings real life into comedy, and she's funny. Yeah, she's funny. So if you want to just laugh, Maria Bamford is on there. Jeff Allen.
if you I a couple of obscure comics that I know. I mean, I wouldn't not super obscure, but I really like Awaken with JP. Is his I don't know his real name, but he's got a YouTube channel.
YouTube channel,
But
yes.
he does stand up as well, and he's come to Utah. I think he might be from Utah, but maybe not. I don't know. But a local comic here, yeah, Rodney Norman, he's hilarious. And I've met him, and I've actually done an open mic with him. He was much better than I was. So, also, Tanner Ralph is a pretty good local comedian as well. I like him. You can find both of those on Twitter, and probably more well known. I'm a big fan of Dave Landau, but I mean he's on Steven Crowder's show.
I have never actually heard any of his comedy. Is he good?
It's good. It's real good.
I'll have to check out Dave Landau's some of his stand-up comedy. I've never actually heard him do stand-up.
I have watched a couple of Lisa Schlinger's specials, and it's about 50-50 for me. Some of them are pretty good, but then sometimes she does go into the rut of exclusively talking about her vagina. It's not quite as funny, but she has done some good stuff that I did like.
Lisa Schrenger. I've heard that. I think I've heard a few of her stuff.
Yeah, she's starting doing movies. She did a movie with Mark Wahlberg on Netflix.
Okay,
but she has a lot of Netflix specials. Yeah, those are some good recommendations. I want to also analyze one more Norm Macdonald joke, which doesn't follow like his favorite kind of joke of the setup is the same as the punchline, but I think that it is the best joke that he has ever told, because of how concise it is, and it just utilizes so many aspects of comedy in such a short time with just a great. Let's watch it. Okay, here we go. This is also from his time on the Weekend Update on SNL. In my opinion, probably the best joke of all time. Here we go.
Who are safer drivers, men or women? Well, according to a new survey, 55% of adults feel that women are most responsible for minor fender benders, while 78% blame men for most fatal crashes. Please note that the percentages in these pie graphs do not add up to 100% because the math was done by a woman.
Just wait.
For those of you hissing at that joke, it should be noted that that joke was written by a woman. So now you don't know what the hell to do, do you? No, I'm just kidding. We don't hire women.
And see, that is...
It's perfect. It's also as concise as possible. There is no fluff. Mm-hmm. It's great. First off, it shines a light on the audience and exactly what we're talking about, how the jester's privilege, right? He tells an intentionally sexist joke and gets some laughs and some groans, and then says, hey, remember when we used to be able to laugh at comedy? Remember when we used to be able to say offensive things? And he gets a spotlight, shines it on the audience, and says, guess what? You're bad for not laughing at my joke because it was written by a woman.
And I see you have to be able to, and this is something that we're losing in today's society. And this is very apparent when it comes to like the Dave Chappelle special, I believe, when he had a couple of jokes about transgender individuals in his latest Netflix sketch. Yeah. And I think Kevin Hart did a couple that people were really mad at him for.
Oh, but before we get off into the weeds, this joke in particular, sorry, what makes it even great is after that, like he says, oh, you're stupid for not laughing at the joke. It was written by a woman, and it shows both sides. Like, oh, if I do laugh, it's offensive. If I don't laugh, it's offensive. But then he ties it all together by making himself the butt of the joke, and doubling down on the sexism. Oh, just kidding. We don't hire women.
We don't hire, right.
Right.
And
Okay.
see, he's pushing
But
it.
for that brief moment, he makes you uncomfortable and then lets you laugh at him.
And that's what humor should do.
Yes.
So in
The best comedy is where my favorite type of jokes that I tell is where I'm the joke.
yes, where you can
But
take
go on. You were talking about transgenders and with the Netflix,
the Dave Chappelle
Dave
and
Chappelle
Kevin
shows.
Hart.
Hilarious specials.
Super funny. And that's I guess what I'm saying is, like, you need to learn to laugh at yourself or to laugh at things in society that generally we shouldn't laugh at. That's the part of comedy that we have to bring back into. Now, there are some things that some jokes you just don't make that cross the line.
Yeah.
For example, for me, I know some people, I find this humor disgusting, vile, vulgar. I hate it. I despise it. Some people find it funny. I'm not going to laugh at it. My personal line is dead baby jokes. I hate dead baby jokes. I find them vile and vulgar.
Right.
Kids told them in my high school all the time, and I
used to tell them in high school. I used to think they were funny.
It's just disgusting. And now being a dad and holding multiple babies and having, like, you just had a baby, and I can't wait to hold your new little baby girl. Like, I'm super excited here in the next month or so when we get together. Like, I don't find that. I know some people do, but I don't find that. For me, that's a line. If a comic makes that joke, I just don't listen to the rest of the special or her special.
You're not going to go out and cancel comedians who
I'm not going to go out and cancel. No, not at all. I'm not going to go out and cancel. Those of you who have been watching the show and have watched Sunday specials, sometimes you have seen me in uniform on Sunday specials. I'm a cop. Some of the funniest humor I have ever. You make jokes to me privately all the dang time that are uncomfortable sometimes for me as you make cop jokes, and then later I laugh at them. I have to laugh at myself. I have to take something that can be uncomfortable, not forbidden, because there are jokes for some people that are, but things that are uncomfortable for me, and I have to be able to laugh at it. If I don't do that, I'm not healthy as a person, in my opinion. And it's the same thing like the Dave Chappelle transgender jokes. Those were funny. I know some people. I have a female police officer who is transgender, who was part of my academy, and she told some of the funniest jokes I've ever heard. And she is transgender. She transitioned into a woman, 100%. You've got to be able to look at yourself, at your life, and have those uncomfortable moments, like you said with the woman thing, tying it back into your comment.
Well,
just kidding. We don't hire women. After he just said that joke was written by a woman.
It's funny because he's the butt of the joke.
Right.
He's the misogynist, which he obviously isn't in real life. But he's
circle.
He makes you uncomfortable and then lets you relax and lets you laugh at him.
And you have to remember that there is a progression of attitudes, right? Of how people feel. Anger, happiness, joy, sadness, yada, 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 yada. Do you know in this progression of psychology, laughter and humor is the next level of emotion after anger. People can be angry, and you are more able to get someone who is angry to laugh than to calm down.
Yes.
And I can't tell you how many times me, as a police officer, in tense situations, have been able to break, like, I don't have many options. I'm either going to be in a fist fight with this guy. I'm going to be tasing him. Please, God, don't give me a situation where I have to shoot him. He's just livid, and the tension is just at a breaking point. And either myself or one of my partners have been able to make a joke to that individual, and it has gone from an angry, there's violence about to happen, to we've been able to laugh about it, joke about it, and suddenly everything changed. And I think that's that joke, right? Going back to the humor joke, analyzing it, the joke was written by a woman. Oh crap, I'm uncomfortable. I'm a little mad. And then it goes all the way back around, and we don't hire women. Full circle. And I think that's what we're losing in today's comedy a lot of times. And the best comedians are able to do that.
I also guarantee you that the people who were furious about Dave Chappelle's special didn't watch it.
No, they did not watch
because he was actually very supportive of the trans community in the special.
it. His last like 5-10 minutes is dedicated just to
To one of his good friends.
good
who was
friends
trans,
who came out as transgender, and it was a very heartwarming thing. He's a good comedian. Don't cancel comedies or comics. I am not, like I said, the dead baby jokes. I hate them, but I'm not going to go out and cancel. I'm not going to go out and cancel this guy because all he does is dead baby jokes. I'm going to say I think he is a crap comedian, but he should be allowed to make jokes.
Yeah.
Because we lose Jester's privilege, and if we lose Jester's privilege, we lose free speech. I know we're supposed to be lighthearted, but going into a serious thing, like
we tricked ya.
We tricked ya.
This episode's about free speech, you dummies. You're a dumb and your comedy's not funny.
Anyway, there's my soapbox. That's the end of my soapbox.
No, that's great. I think that's a great place to leave it. I just wanted to quickly mention another one of the things you said is we need to learn to be able to laugh at ourselves. And I think referring comedians, I think the perfect example of what you just said is the YouTuber Ricky Berwick. He is a cripple, and his entire channel is dedicated to making fun of himself.
Yes.
He does idiotic, stupid things, and it's hilarious.
I think one of his best.
He's one of the most optimistic people I've ever seen.
He does his last one was retard, and he was like, I'm retarded. He's like, and I'm not offended. You can use the word retard. I give you permission. Like, it was really funny. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yes,
he's absolutely hilarious. Check out his channel. Go subscribe. Yeah, this has been fun.
Good lighthearted episode.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Next Thursday's episode, I have a couple of topics that I'd like to talk about, but I've taken the last two. I don't know if you, Corwin, had another topic you wanted to tackle. But the two topics that I wanted to bring up, and you can mention in the comments, and if Corwin has one in mind right now, you can just let us know in the comments which one you would rather see first. We'll probably do both of them because I like this show. But let us know which one you're more interested in. I want to talk about, let's get real deep. I want to talk about homophobia and Christianity. Or I could talk about something really controversial and talk about the hidden downsides to big stadium sports. See, that was a joke because one of those was significantly more heavy than the other, but people get passionate about sports.
I've got a couple of topics. One I wanted to get into, and this is a hot debate, and it's very lighthearted, no politics in it at all. So maybe we can do it when we want a week that is like this one, very short, and we know we can keep it short, under 45 minutes. What is better in video games, storyline or graphics?
I mean, it's obviously story.
It's obviously story, right? But I know there's some people who are just livid at me for saying that.
I have an expensive graphics card, and I will pick story every time.
For those of you who don't know, there's a video on Alan's channel about us camping all night to get graphics cards during the graphics card shortages that has happened over the past 2 years.
The Great Depression.
We almost got shot.
We did. We almost got mugged.
We almost got mugged. Well, I would have been kind of funny if that would have. I mean, I was in uniform at the time. Anyway, but there's a couple others. But I mean, I say we do it either on the video game one, because I have a couple other things that would go into that. The video game one, or the let's do the big stadium sports.
Okay.
One of the two.
Let us know in the comments what you want to see first, and that's it.
That's it.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Sunday, where we're talking about the Orville and all kinds of stuff.
Have a good night, YouTube.
Bye.
Peace.